What up? Welcome back and welcome. If you haven't been on my channel yet, I talk about a lot of personal problems, issues that I feel like people are going through in today's society. Be different, change the cycle, set the standard for a better way of life. Mind over actions, God first. I have been on a journey of trying to break the mold, trying to change the perspective of what it's like to have a relationship with God and truly change. I think this generation is truly stuck on the religious aspect and not the relationship aspect of what it's like to be in relationship with God. I learned a lot of these things by sitting and taking time out to just learn myself and develop a relationship with God. It doesn't take for you to go to church nowadays, and I want to present that to the youth. I want to present that to the next generation, because if you can change one mind, you've changed an entire family cycle. Just let that sink in, because if you can change the way that you think, you can change the way that you raise your children, you can change the way that you live your lifestyle, you can change your habits, you can change a lot of the things that you deal with, that people deal with in everyday life in today's society. So as you guys can tell, man, I'm excited, because I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I didn't have a blueprint for this video. Like, this was God literally dropping everything on me at one point in time in my life. But what I want to portray in this message about habits is the breakdown of it. What it causes us to do, why it's so hard to recognize it, and why habits affect us so much. So y'all give me a moment. Go ahead and listen to that music right quick. So habits, all right. Bad habits are hard to break. Bad habits stem from coping mechanisms that we have grown into: bad language, professionalism, how we carry ourselves, how we speak, respect, integrity, honesty. Takes 30 days to form a habit. Good habits will help you intellectually. It'll help you with consistency. It'll help you with principles, values, a mindset, situationism that develops bad habits, habits from your paradigm. So I know I said a handful, but I'm gonna break it down for y'all, so don't worry about that. I got this. Anyway, man, y'all gotta give me a second. I just gotta get my thoughts together. I'm just excited. I'm trying to make sure I present this in a way to where y'all don't be like, this dude crazy. But I be feeling like I'm crazy sometimes, but God is good anyway. I speak about these things from a place of authenticity, and sometimes I just get to a point where it's like, whoa, like, I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that unraveling or unfolding in that way or in that manner. But to break down why I didn't feel like I had a setup for habits, I'm gonna get into that real quick. The reason why I didn't feel like I had a setup for this month's video, habits, was because I knew that I had bad habits that I hadn't overcome. I knew that I had been kind of slipping into going back to thinking that, I need to change up what I'm doing with my videos. I need to change up my approach. I need to focus more on my business. But God was just breaking down these things as I was going, because when you're in connection with God, He's always able to talk to you because He has access to you. And God, man, he speaks to me on a level of just using my own mind. Like, I had been just thinking that, because I don't have a car, I can't go do this, I can't go do that, and I can't go do this. So it kind of started affecting the way that I was thinking, the way that I was operating, the way that I was producing my material, the way that I was, coming up with certain ideas and things like that, because my mind was clogged. And then I went from getting to a place of trying to seek advice from others and trying to find, like, what is it? Why am I stuck? Why am I in this position where I feel like I'm not growing? What is it that I haven't learned in this process, in this season? But yeah, I know my hair crazy when I'm talking about it. But anyway, why am I in this season of the learning process? So one thing that stuck out to me recently was I did open my business last year. And because I haven't gone to school, I ain't educated on what it takes to run a business. I don't know how to market. I don't know how to do these things. But if you go back to my video on self-education, this is why this is important, because it'll teach you a lesson. But y'all give me 1 second. Auntie, I love you, but I'm in the process of doing this video, and I'm gonna give you a call back. But y'all honestly keep her in y'all prayers. She's going through a time right now, so I just ask that y'all pray for my aunt. But going back to the video for habits, I got a little sidetracked. But where was I? I gotta forget. Okay. You've got to get to the point where you can understand where your habits come from. Your habits come from what you've gone through in your life. Your habits come from honestly not even being aware of why you have the habits and who you are. That's where a lot of your habits come from. And opening my business, I had no idea that I had to pay taxes on my business when I hadn't even sold anything or created anything or had any sales from it. I got a call a couple of days ago, and they were just like, you haven't paid your taxes for the 3rd quarter and the 4th quarter and the 1st quarter. I'm like, what? Dang. But it's a learning lesson, because these are things that now I know I need to deep dive into. And this is what God was saying to me. Don't get ahead of yourself. There are a lot of times throughout this process of why I couldn't come up with an idea for habits, because I was getting ahead of myself. That was one of them. And the reason why I felt like I was ahead of myself about my business and the taxes and all of that and how that came into play was because I was trying to get my merchandise out there. You see the shirt. This was a process of me getting ahead of myself. So I found this website. A person told me about this website, and I'm like, all right, cool, thank you. I'm gonna get my business started. I'm gonna start selling these t-shirts. But then I started running in wholesale certificate, being able to have all your finances in order and in line, and pretty much needing probably a bank account before I get started, because you're gonna have to account for all of this at become tax time. Now, I knew I had to pay taxes, but I didn't know I had to pay taxes when I hadn't made any revenue. That was a rude awakening, because now I gotta pay late filing tax fees, which I gotta work on today. But I had to get this message out there. I started getting ahead of myself in my product and my material, because I know that my product and my material is there. I know what it could be. I know what I see it as. I know where I want to go with it. But I gotta be able to understand the necessary steps in which it takes to get there. I gotta understand the business standpoint and business aspect of what it takes to run a business. So I feel like God was saying to me that right now in this period, you're in a learning period. You've got to slow down and you've got to learn. I had a bad habit of getting ahead of myself. So that was what he was showing me. You have a bad habit of getting ahead of yourself. So it wasn't that God was saying, hey, do this video and then talk about your habits because you've overcome them. No, do this video because you're still dealing with it. You're still going through the same things that you've gone through in your past, because you haven't fully devoted yourself to changing some of those habits. It's an everyday process. It's an everyday thing that you have to do. Mind over actions is an everyday thing. It's like, it brings me to the Bible verse, Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. I've got to renew my mind every day, because my mind is set on habitual things that I've gone through in my life, and that's a natural thing. I'm 2 years removed from being unstable. I was unstable for 10 years. Not to mention everything that I was going through, everything that I went through. So how do you get to this point of, I was saying to myself, how do I get to this point of success? How do I get to this point of being financially successful? But what God was also saying to me is, don't focus on the aspect of what success is as far as being materialistic. I am the bag, and that's not cockiness, but that's just Godfidence. I am the bag. You are rich when you develop a relationship with God, and God is just saying to me, you got to understand that. No matter what position you are in your life, no matter where you're at, no matter what you have got to be okay with who you are and your relationship with God. And I didn't start learning to be okay with who I was until I started having a relationship with God. But then there's levels to it, because I've many a times I've lost sight of being okay, lost sight of just appreciating what I have and just going before myself. Like, I stopped tithing. God was showing me that. Like, I tithed just the other day. Like, I tithed before I got paid, and that was something that I hadn't learned. That was something that I had to go through a process of learning, because I had known that God was pretty much, I was tithing, but I was pretty much tithing once I had calculated all of my bills and saying, oh, okay, cool. It's like giving God, like you get a whole big old plate of turkey and you giving God a half of the leg when God is the one who provided it for you. Like, you gotta let him get his first. Like, God gotta give first. Like, he gotta be first. And I didn't recognize that. So I can sit before you guys and say that there's things that you've got to recognize, and that I had to recognize to be able to understand that. I've got to give God a first of anything that I get. I got a pay raise this year, and I was so caught up on I don't make enough money still to be able to get a car that I didn't even give him thanks. And I've incorporated a good habit of getting up in the morning and praising God, because I know that tomorrow's not promised. I know that I gotta be, thankful for just the small things. I gotta be thankful for a place to live. I gotta be thankful for five fingers. 10 fingers. You know what I mean. I'm over here miscounting my own fingers and hands. But anyway, back to the message. But it's so much that God was teaching me and telling me throughout this process that I hadn't realized that I was learning throughout going forward. I kept saying to myself, like, man, I got all these ideas and I got all these things, and I don't know where to start, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to put my focus on. God was saying, put your focus on what you can control. Stop focusing on the money aspect. Stop focusing on how you're going to reach people. Focus on the material that you're presenting and what you're talking about, and what Mind Over Actions is. Mind Over Actions is me. And how I've come to know that and believe that that is true is because I got to a point where I was so far ahead of myself that I was working on Mind Over Actions at work. And I can't do that, because realistically and logically, I got to look at my situation and say, what's providing my immediate needs right now? And how can I continue to move forward instead of moving back? Right now, I'm in the process of baby steps, and I'm like, I've been telling God, like, I'm in the season of, like, man, I'm bored. Like, but that's the relationship that I've developed with God, where I'm open and I'm honest. I'm like, man, I'm bored. What do I do in this season of where I'm at? Like, I want to grow. I want to get to this process. But he was saying to me again, there's things that you haven't learned. There's things that you got to learn. And bad habits was one of them. Because if I don't develop a habit of consistency, and I get to this point of, like, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, one of my videos blows up and then it gets 1 million views or something, how do I sustain what God wants me to do when I haven't developed the baby step, the fundamentals of the game? Like, I haven't developed the fundamentals. Like, I want to be in a championship game and I don't know how to make layups. You feel me? Like I'm at the point where I'm so comfortable with being me that being me was forgetting that I got responsibilities, that I got things I got to take care of beforehand, before I can get to that point of where I feel like Mind Over Actions to be something I work on full time. My goal right now is to pretty much be able to do this full time when my daughter reaches the age of 5. Why? Because I feel like we have a bad cycle of not teaching our kids the necessary habits of what it takes to sustain your life. And the reason why it's been so hard for me was because growing up, I was told to stay out of the kitchen. Growing up, as a man, I was told I had to do the dishes. Growing up, I wasn't allowed to cook. Growing up, no one taught me how to grocery shop. No one taught me how to cook. No one taught me how to, and I'm not saying I couldn't have went and learned these things on my own, but how do you be in that mindset when you're in the mindset of survival mode? And I feel like a lot of people are in the mindset of survival mode. We're trying to survive. We're trying to get by. We're trying to get to the next level. We're trying to get through the next day. You can't think properly if you're not in the right situation to think properly. And that's just the truth. That's just, all honesty. Like, the people that I have grown up around, the people that know me close, they've seen this process, they've seen this change. It takes a while for people to see a true, genuine change. It takes authenticity, it takes trial and error, it takes proof. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta walk through the stages. You can't skip steps. And I got so before myself that my work ethic at work started falling, and I got to a point where I was like, you know what, Lord, I gotta focus on what I can control. I gotta focus on my health. I gotta focus on being successful within myself. I gotta further that. I've got to mentor that. I've got to nurture that, because that's how success should be measured. It should be measured on how successful you are within yourself, how well you know yourself, how you've developed a relationship with God, how you're growing, how you're impacting other people's lives. Because when you leave this world, nobody's going to talk about what you have rather than what you have. And that's been experienced through the passing of Nip. I ain't really just heard nobody talk about what he had. I heard a lot of people talk about who he was, you know, and that's the aspect of what I think a lot of people are stuck in the paradigm of, you know, I gotta be successful, I gotta go to school, I gotta get a college degree, I gotta do this. But if you think about it, this world has us in a systematic cycle where you go to school for 8 hours a day, and they present this standard of what learning is. So not only have they set a standard of what you should do as far as like a 9 to 5, but the 9 to 5s keep this world going. Like if you look at certain places like where I work, if you look at certain things like we don't see the value in necessities, but these companies don't pay you your value because it takes so much money to make money. That's what I learned with my business. It takes money to make money. You know, it takes knowledge of running a business, of what requires of the requirements of management. Like these are things that I'm learning and that I'm growing and getting to the point where it's like I gotta go through the process of learning. I gotta go through the process of learning and caring for myself in the proper way of working out and building a system of consistency around a healthy way of living as far as in the physical nature. I've developed a healthy way of living within my mindset, but there's so many stages of what you've got to go through and get through, and that's why I'm trying to present this in its authenticity, because being a Christian and walking in the will of God is not easy. It's a sacrifice. It's a daily sacrifice. It's something that you've got to commit to. But that's just like with the relationship. You got to commit to it. That's just like with life. Like if you want something out of life, you got to commit to it. You got to understand where you're going and how you want to get there. 2 years ago, I couldn't have seen myself being in this position. 2 years ago, I didn't see myself creating a business. 2 years ago, I didn't see myself being a banker. Like I didn't see these things for myself. I knew I wanted better, and I worked towards it. And because I worked towards it, I developed and grew into where I'm at today. But you can't stop growing. You got to keep growing, because kids that grow, you know, we got to be in the mindset of a child. Because God is going to provide your every need. Seek first the kingdom of God, and everything else should be added unto you. But he taught me that so many times. But we get so lost in the patterns of this world. And I'm a victim of that. Like, it's not easy, because it's like, man, I see myself and I see where I can be. But I tend to skip steps. I tend to go before myself. And his purpose in just showing me that was so that I could relay that. Like, you can't get ahead of yourself. You can't have and develop a true closeness and relationship with God if you're impure. If you say, oh, hey, you know, I go to church and God is good, but you still have bad habits like smoking weed, like drinking, like having sex out of marriage, then you haven't really allowed God to come in your life and change you. Because this walk ain't easy. Like, it's not. I I struggle, but that's the joy, in it is the struggle. It's the authenticity. It's me doing these things for the betterment of trying to present this for others. Because when I was growing up, I didn't have an example of the right way. I didn't have an example of what it really meant, what life really meant. I didn't have that example. I didn't have that. Like I didn't have the values, the principles, the morals, the understanding of self, the relationship with God. That was skipped throughout 20-some years of my life. So I'm battling all those bad habits that were formed through survival mode. And I'm still dealing with that. I'm still trying to cope with that because it's like I said, it's an everyday battle. But when you're right in your mind, you can assess the situation and know what you have to work on, and you can progress because it's not just gonna happen overnight. But you, like I said, you got to be committed to it, and that's what I try to present through these videos. If you go back and you look at my very first video, you can see so much. I saw so much of a change from that first video to now, like as I go through my videos, because I'm very analytical and very logical thinking about certain situations. And it came to me like, because of that, God used that to show me like, man, look, this is where you're at. Be here in this moment and stop worrying about what's ahead. And man, he showed me so much of the growth. He showed me so much of the change. He showed me so much of how I feel like it can impact others moving forward, that I got so excited, and I was just like, man, like wow, because you gotta appreciate the right now. You gotta appreciate the lessons that you learn, and that's why I can appreciate my past. That's why I can talk about it. That's why I can have joy from all the bad that happened in my life, because now those bad things, I can turn it into helping others, which I know people deal with. Like, I know people deal with stress. I know people deal with trying to find themselves. I know people deal with habits. I know people deal with pain. I know people deal with not knowing or understanding how to have a true relationship with God. And I'm trying to break that mold. I'm trying to break that cycle. Be different. Change the cycle. Set the standard for a better way of life. But people need to see it in its authenticity. People need to know that you're serious. People need to see it on a continuous basis, because just like me, God has to show me continuously these things. And as soon as you disconnect, man, you forget. That's why every morning I wake up and I pray, and I just thank God for another day. I thank God for what I have. I thank God for who I am. And man, it's a beautiful thing when you can connect with yourself and God can show you how to develop into being better. It's a beautiful process, man, because I went through so much in my life. I went through sleeping in my car. I went through being unstable. I went through being broke, having a poverty mindset, but being rich in my mind. Like I said, like I am the bag, like, and I feel that way. And man, that's just my confidence, because with him I can't lose. So I have to focus on that aspect. Like, focus on the aspect of the now and what you can change and what you can control. And that's where you'll start to develop a sense of what your bad habits are and how you can change them. My goal, man, for the rest of this year is focusing on my physical health and my health as far as eating wise, because I would get to points of depression where, I couldn't eat. I would get to points where I didn't have money to eat. I would get to points where a lot of people in my life that I reached out to when I asked them for money, a lot of times they didn't even know that I was asking for that money just to eat. Man, I get so much joy from the pain and hurt that I've gone through, because it was so many lessons in all of it. And I want people to see that whatever you go through, turn it into a lesson, turn it into your blessing, man. This is my blessing, man. And to be honest, man, I thank God for that. And y'all gotta excuse me. Um, um, man, you get to a point where you don't hurt from your past. You get to a point where you accept learning as growth. You get to a point where just having such a joy that every single thing that you do will succeed. And because of my situation, because of me having to ride my bike to work, because of financially being unstable, God has allowed me to continue to have a rich mindset through it all. And that's the process that I don't want to skip. That's the process that I want people to see. That's the process, that's the growing pains of building something, of creating something, and the joy in just being able to use all of that to give back to other people, man. That it brings a joy to you that's just unexplainable, undescribable. But man, people need to have something that they can feel, something that they can see, something that can truly change them from the inside and say, man, I didn't know that these things were affecting my life, and I didn't for a long time. And throughout my cycle of life, you would look at my life and be like, oh, you was good. You had this. But there's nobody hurting more than somebody that looks like they're okay, but they not truly doing well. And man, there's no, I'm telling you, man, there were times where I had a lot of money and I looked like I was doing good, but on the inside I was burning, man. On the inside I was hurting. On the inside, I was afraid to trust people. On the inside, I didn't know how to talk about my problems on the inside. But these are all habits that developed over the course of my life. And these are all things that God has come to show me. Whereas, he was just like, Stan, if you don't work on these things, then you can't grow. You can't change. You can't change others if you can't present what you're talking about in a sense of an example. Because a leader wants people to grow. A leader wants people to be better within themselves and go out and create. Like, I don't want people to follow me to follow me. I want people to go to Jesus. I want people to try him for themselves. I want people to create a mind over actions from their testimony, man. That would be the true joy and that's the true joy in what I'm doing, because my relationship with God, my lifestyle, how I've been able to change, that's just my story. That's just my testimony. That's just my creativity. God allows me to be me, and I'm unapologetically me. Like, I am the bag. Like, and you gotta feel that, and you gotta believe that, but you gotta get to a point where you can accept the fact that it's gonna take a long time. And as a visionary, I can relate to that. And you have to know who you are to be able to see your habits. If you go back through my videos, I talk a lot about that. Um, I have a bad habit of like just being lazy after being consistent. So like I'll be consistent for like 2 3 weeks in eating and working out, and then I'll fall back into my old ways. But that's because I hadn't put the time, effort, and focus, into it that it requires. But it's easy to fall back into your old ways if you're not focusing on it and you're not truly, developing a sense of how do I truly dig deep and change this? Because it's not a mindset problem, it's just a habit problem from what I'm used to over a period of years. And people don't realize that if you've gone through something for years, it takes a long time to mold, change, and develop. I was unstable pretty much my entire life, from being born to being in a foster home, from losing my parents, from being in Minnesota, California, Texas, Chicago. Like, I've been unstable my whole life up until the point I was about 27. Um, Man, so I'm only 2 years, not even 2 years. I haven't even had my place for 2 years into being stable. So it's a lot of things that I'm incorporating now that I couldn't incorporate before because I wasn't in the right mindset to be able to do it because I was in survival mode. Uh, I had to stop focusing on the outcome of my lifestyle and what I wanted from it. And I had to bring back my focus on the true value in what I'm trying to present to people. And that's the true value in change. That's the true value in a genuine relationship with God. That's the true value in authenticity. That's the true value in being vulnerable and opening up about what you've gone through in your life so that others can relate to it, so that you can change others. You can't change anybody if you have yet to change yourself. Um, I had to learn that through this process, that I'm undergoing, and it's a beautiful thing, man. I sometimes I get to the point where I'm at a loss for words, because me myself, looking at everything that I've gone through and what I've accomplished without a college degree, what I've accomplished without knowing what to do. It's only God, and I'm thankful. Like, I'm only here because of him, you know. And my thanks to him is just giving God the glory in all aspects of my life, because he opened up my mind to be able to be creative. He opened up the door to me being able to be unapologetically me. Like, this my swag. Like, this I am the bag. Like, in it's a different sense of achievement when you can be yourself inside of the will of God, man. Like, man, it gives you so much hope. It gives you so much patience. It gives you so much understanding, and that's where I want to get people to get to. So here's some takeaways from this video that, if you're watching this video, I would like you to work on. And this is what I'm going to work on myself, and I'm going to come back with the video, and I'll break down what I went through, the process of it, the change and the growth. And that's the most, that's the aspect of what I love about challenging myself is the feedback that I can give back from it. So that is definitely something I'm working on. And again, man, I was at a loss for words on how I was going to present this video this month. And he provides a way, man. And the sun is going down, so y'all excuse me for 1 second. Oh man, that just gave my video a whole different look. But anyway, I'm a present to y'all just some of my art and my creativity for y'all to be able to look forward to in the coming months. If you are new to my page, thank you for watching this video in its entirety. Subscribe to my channel. I will continue to talk about life situations. I will continue to talk about things of change. I will continue to talk about my testimony, and I will continue to talk about how God changed my life. Mind Over Actions is my business, and my Instagram page is at Mind Over Actions. MOA, be different, change the cycle, set the standard for a better way of life. God's always first. And just real briefly, I'm gonna play a couple of songs for y'all just to have something for y'all to look forward to. I haven't figured out how I'm gonna bring this to YouTube since it's on my phone, but I just want to let y'all hear a few things real quick. This is called Ease the Pain.
Mind Over Actions. God first. Heartbroken and searching for love. My advice is that you look above. It'll help you see there's a light at the end of the tunnel, even though your vision is blurry, because your paradigm has been that of much worry. I know it's been some things on your mind. I know it's going to take some time.
Alright, that's just one of them. That's called Ease the Pain.
No one else like you.
Now, don't judge me, because it just was a rough draft of me doing it, so.
I love you. Check it. There's no one else like you. There's no one else like you. Yeah. I've been trying to find a way Long hours at the job, but I'm grateful anyway. I'm just looking back on my days, grateful that I made a change. All glory goes to you. No one else could have had my back like you. On skates, cause I slid through lots of drama. Man, I miss my mama. I hope she's looking at me now. Hope that she's proud that I ain't let my past get me down. And as I take a look around, I ain't got a reason to frown.
Alright, that's called No One Else Like You. This is called a special delivery. I'm probably gonna change the way that I deliver this later, but just want y'all to briefly hear it real quick.
Yeah. Special delivery. Check it. Eloquent, intellectual, delivering quality messages through storytelling, through my testimony. Nah, homie, you can't take this joy away. Many nights I prayed and had to keep the faith.
Yeah. So, thank y'all for rocking with me. I appreciate the support. I love y'all. Y'all be blessed. Continue to be on the lookout for these videos, man. My only goal is change, man. That's all I want from these videos. That's why I just continue to present y'all this authenticity. And man, you know, I'm not gonna change up what I'm doing, because when I look back on this, man, it just provides a sense of where I was, how I started, and where I'm gonna progress to. So y'all be blessed. Mind over actions. God first. I'm out.